What's up, guys? It's your boy Noah and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about 6 thrifting tips that can turn you into a professional thrifter. Let's talk about it. Alright, so when it comes to thrift shopping, there's a couple of ideas that can really change how successful you are. And by successful, I mean finding the things that you're looking to find. I mean finding overall good finds like grails and maybe high-end pieces or just one-of-a-kind pieces and having an overall good experience. And the first one of those is location. Location, location, location. I mean, they talk about it in real estate all the time, but not enough in shopping. So basically, when I say location, I don't mean what state or what country you're in, because really there's good finds everywhere. But there's this common misconception about thrifting in richer or more wealthy parts of your city. People think that if you go to these wealthy parts, you're just gonna find better things. And I'd like to abolish that misconception right now, because I've always found better items in the more desolate, more country or even senior places. If you catch my drift. See, in the richer places and the more high-end places, you're finding a lot more young folk. In the city is generally just a more high traffic area, and specifically in the inner city. So in Atlanta, when I go around like Georgia State or Georgia Tech, maybe around Atlantic Station, if any of you guys know where that is, I usually find things that are more like preppy, I would say, like, you know, polos, things like that. And yeah, you can find some good stuff there, but a lot of these people that are donating their clothes in these areas aren't donating old school and vintage items. They're donating newer things. But when I go to the less populated areas, I find a lot more grails. I think that the reason why is because there is an older crowd and they have a lot more like vintage items with them, because there's just keepsakes and things that they've had in their closet for a long time. So never shy away from the outskirts of the city. You're always going to find better items there, and chances are it's not going to be as expensive. So, you know, number one, location. After you found a good location to start, what's the next thing? What thrift store do you choose? There's like tons of them. I mean, you know, you have your Goodwills, you have your Value Villages, your Salvation Armies. I mean, there's a million of them. So which ones do you go to? I personally think that Goodwill is the worst of all the thrift stores. I'm gonna tell you why. When you go to a thrift store, what are you looking to find? Most people that are in the thrifting world are looking for items that have character in them, things that have age to them, but aged well. At Goodwill, it's the most well-known thrift store. People are donating all types of things, not just vintage items or not just what we call grails. Dress shirts, you're gonna find a lot of suits, and those things can also be good, but it's not necessarily what we're looking for. So Goodwill, hit or miss. Always check it out if you have the time, but if you can only go to a few, I would say go to Goodwill last. A really good slept on thrift store is Salvation Army. Sometimes it's called like the family store or whatever. I found some of the craziest items from a Salvation Army. A lot older crowds go there, and I keep referencing older crowds because they generally just have more vintage items. This also means that less young folk are going to these places because thrifting is so popular in our age group. I mean, it's saturated, you know what I'm saying? So if everybody's going to the same places, the chances of you finding a grail or something super, super dope is just gonna be kind of watered down and really, really low. So go to family stores, go to Salvation Army, and you're gonna find amazing things. I mean, trust me, some of the starter jackets and some of the like old Beau Rivage and like Tommy Hilfiger things that I have in my closet usually came from a family store, aka Salvation Army. So check it out. We talked about Goodwill, we talked about Salvation Army. Now, I think that skipping over all the other brand names, we have to really, really talk about these mom and pop shops. These are gonna be where you find the best items hands down. So whereas these really big brand names, they have donation centers all over the country. These mom and pop shops usually base their success off of connections, you know, like specific donation centers. You know, they usually only have a few donation boxes or drop-off boxes, as some of us call it. This means that they have a very, very specific donor list. And what that means for us is you know what to expect and you know where to go to if you want to find a banger for any type of outfit or for any type of event. So mom and pop shops should be your go-to when it comes to thrift stores, for sure. The third tip is intel. See, when soldiers go into battle, they don't go without knowing what they're jumping into. So why would you do the same when it comes to shopping? Now, I know that's a little dramatic, but hear me out. When it comes to thrift stores, each one is different, and there's really none that are really the same. Even the same brand name stores usually are different depending on where they are and what kind of operation they have going on. For the first tip, when it comes to intel on thrift stores, know what kind of thrift store you have. And when I say what kind, I'm talking about how they receive their product. Know if this thrift store has a drop-off system, kind of like Goodwill, where you can go and just drop off whatever you have. Is it a sell your stuff, like a consignment type of thing, or do people come and sell their items? This means that the items that you buy there are generally going to be priced a little bit higher because they have to give out money for their items, which means they're not going to get as much in return if the items are cheap. So things like Buffalo Exchange and Plato's Closet or Round 2, these are all consignment stores or like secondhand stores. And yeah, you can find good stuff there, but it's just generally going to be more expensive. Another type is going to be a drop-off box location. Now, a lot of these places, well, in terms of thrift stores, a lot of thrift stores have drop-off boxes just around the city. Now, what that means for you is that donors have a lot more access to this, which means you can just have more options of things. You're going to have a wider variety of product. And that really helps when it comes to thrift stores because sometimes you really want something specific and other times you want just, you want something fresh and something new. So that's always a good thing to know. Now, the second part of knowing intel about your thrift stores is knowing when they put new shipment out on the floor. Just like any other store, trucks come and donations come on certain days of the week. Next time you go to the thrift store, ask, hey, when do you put your shipments out on the floor? You'll find that this really helps you when it comes to planning out your thrifting trips. If there's more product on the store, you have more to choose from, and if you go days after they put shipment out, it's going to be thin picking. People have already come and taken all the good stuff. So if shipment comes on Wednesday, you need to be first in line if you're looking to find all the good stuff. Now, the third part about intel when it comes to thrift stores is knowing when these thrift stores have sales. Yes, a lot of them do have sales. Here in Atlanta, Park Ave is like one of the biggest thrift stores and really one of the best. And a lot of them have a day-to-day sale, which means on Thursday, their products are usually 75 cents. I mean, everything in the store, jackets, coats, whatever it is, 75 cents. And it goes up from there. At the end of the day, it always helps you find a better product for a cheaper price. And that's all we're here for. This is a really special part, for me at least. We talked about all this other stuff, but the fourth, and I think one of the most important tips when it comes to thrifting, is that we need to understand that gender has no say-so when it comes to fashion. Yeah, there's men's clothes, there's women's clothes, but when it comes to thrifting, I want you guys to get gender out of your mind. You will find the most wild stuff in the women's section for all my guys, and the same for the girls. I mean, they don't call them boyfriend jeans for no reason, right? So girls, go out there, go to the men's section, find oversized jeans, oversized t-shirts, right? High-waisted jeans, because you can pull them up and a belt always helps. You guys know your fashion, right? Most dudes are generally afraid to shop in the women's section. This gives you an opportunity and technically an advantage over the competition, I guess, right? If you look in the girls section and you look for these jackets, right, you're gonna find stuff that bangs. I'm talking about starter jackets. One time I found a Christian Dior jacket in a super old thrift store in the women's section, and I resold it for $90. So just think about the profit margin there, and just think about the opportunity for gain. Even if you're just shopping for your closet, you can find some super dope stuff. We have to stop thinking about those things as uncomfortable because nobody really cares, right? Step out of your comfort zone. That is a really big tip. Also, for guys and girls, go to the bag section. Thrift stores, their employees at least, are kind of bad at emptying out these bags, and there have been plenty of times where I found money in wallets and in bags in the bag section. So don't be afraid to look in there. And there's tons of ways to style these bags. Even if it does look feminine, trust me, if you layer it right and if you put things with certain pieces, you can find out that bags go with a lot of stuff, and guys in general just need to start wearing crossbody bags and totes and things like that. They can really upgrade your outfit, so we shouldn't be afraid to wear those. So like I said, don't be afraid to go into the other gender section, and you'll be surprised at what you find. We got a lot of the basics down. Now I want to let you guys in on maybe a big secret, actually. Something that I like to call the unconventional shopping method. there's this conventional shopping method that we have gained because of these stores, right? Like we go to the shirt section to find shirts, pants for pants, etc., right? I call this the unconventional shopping method because I want to get that out of your head. I want you guys to realize that any piece can be used for anything, and I know that sounds crazy, but just follow me along, okay? A lot of items can be used for things that you wouldn't really think of. When you go thrifting and you're walking down these aisles, kind of take away the idea that a shirt is just for a shirt, right? Or for pants are just for pants, because sometimes you can find items that can be repurposed or upcycled. Sometimes they might have paint stains on them, things like that. Sometimes they might have holes. Sometimes they might be ripped up. This all gives opportunity for upcycling. You have to get super creative. For my girls, I mean, there's tons of videos out there that show you how to turn pants into shirts, or even, you know, scarves into tops, things like that. So there's really tons of opportunity here for you guys to really change the way you shop and really find stuff that reinvents the way shopping should be, especially in thrift stores. At the end of the day, your thrifting experience is what you want it to be. But the one rule that applies to everybody, no matter where you are, what store you're shopping for, or even what you're looking for, is that you need to have patience. Thrifting is not like just going to another store. It's a new experience. It's completely unique and relative to itself. Going in with an expectation, yeah, it's fun and sometimes it can help in what you're looking for, but at the end of the day, sometimes you can be let down. And if you're not patient while thrifting, a lot of times you'll give up. I mean, when I first started thrifting, I would go to a Goodwill store just because it was down the street, not find anything and be like, wow, this sucks. I'm just finding polo vest and chaps jackets, you know, and it kind of let me down. As I got more into thrifting, I realized that I really had to change my idea when it comes to shopping. I need to have a more patient mindset. Retrace your steps. I mean, sometimes you'll go over an aisle and you kind of just skim by it, or even sometimes you'll take your time looking at the items, but you won't find anything. Patience tells you that sometimes you have to give things a second go around. When you go into these thrift stores, there's millions of things, at least seemingly, you know what I'm saying? There's tons and tons of stuff on each rack, and you really have to take your time. Be patient, try to touch as much items as you can. Go through there, because sometimes these grails are really hidden in plain sight. Don't just skim over everything. Be patient, take your time. If you're going thrifting, leave yourself enough time. Don't rush it. If you only have 30 minutes to go in the store, I would say save it for another day, because you're really selling yourself short. No matter what you heard from this video, if you take anything with you, please let it be that you need to be patient when looking for thrifted grails. Alright guys, you made it to the end of the video, and I really hope that these 6 tips change the way you go thrifting, because thrifting is something so dear to my heart. I used to have a really bad idea when it comes to thrifting. I used to think that thrifting was only for poor people and all this other stuff, but I'm so glad that I gave thrifting a chance, and I hope that you do too, because you'll really learn that thrifting is more than just shopping. Every item that you find in the thrift store has been used by somebody else, which means that every item has a story to it, and if you tap into those stories, sometimes you'll find new stuff about yourself, about fashion, and about cultures, and at the end of the day, you just become a more wholesome and experienced person. If you haven't already, give thrifting a chance, and if you made it this far into the video, you might as well go out there, go to your neighborhood thrift store, give it a shot, and if you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer them, and I'm sure a lot of the thrift community will do the same. We talked about what locations to shop in, where to find these good stores, what stores you should be going to when it comes to brand names or mom and pop shops, and etc. What to know when it comes to these thrift stores, when they have their sales, when they get their shipment, and so on and so forth. We talked about new ways to shop, like shopping in different gender sections. We also talked about changing the way you look at items and how you can repurpose items to make them better for you. And most importantly, we talked about having patience, because it really changed the game. If you liked today's video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Also, if you didn't like today's video, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why, because that ultimately is just gonna help me grow the channel, and that's all I really want to do. If you haven't already done it, hit that subscribe button, because I don't know, you should just do it because I'm cool. Nah, do it because it really helps the channel. If you want to see more content like this, it's on the way, I promise you. I'm rolling out these videos, and I'm trying to give you the content that you guys want and you're asking for. So thanks for all the love, and until next time, peace.